हेलो गाइस, वेलकम टू माय यूट्यूब चैनल। जैसे कि आप जानते हैं कि मैं कुछ टॉपिक्स पे आर्टिकल्स डालती रहती हूँ, तो एक मेरे व्यूअर ने मुझे सजेस्ट किया कि क्यों नहीं आप जो मास्टर कार्ड का केस अभी रिसेंटली फिर से रीओपन हो गया है उस पर डिबेट करो। एंड लॉ एंड लिटिगेशन में नथिंग इज़ ऑलवेज क्लियर। कहीं ना कहीं देयर इज़ अ मैटर ऑफ डाउट, स्पेशली इन इंटरनेशनल टैक्सेशन फ्रंट। काफ़ी सारे ऐसे इश्यूज हैं जो कि अभी भी काफ़ी कंटेंशियस हैं and it is worth debating. So I thought let's not pick up this topic for my viewer and for all of you, and this will be really a good thing to read about. What happened? I will start with the current scheme of events, and then accordingly I will move to different topics and in a chronological order how these things were happening, and will also give you a backdrop, a flashback of what happened in the past. So my case is on permanent establishment topic, and let's start with August 2020, which has just ended. There's an entity named Singapore based Mastercard Asia Pacific Limited. This news came in Economic Times, which you must have read and which you must have gone through, but how many of us have really pondered upon, because it's really a very interesting read in the context of international tax. So Mastercard Asia Pacific Limited had moved the Delhi High Court seeking a stay on payment of equalization levy on digital transactions on grounds that it would lead to double taxation. The Mastercard Asia Pacific Limited have a subsidiary in India, and it is paying taxes in India according to a AR ruling, that is Authority for Advanced Ruling, given in the year 2018 back, which said that this Singapore company is having an Indian subsidiary and it is forming a PE in India, and three types of PE is formed in India, which is service PE, agency PE and fixed place PE, and we will analyze how. And accordingly, the Mastercard Asia Pacific Limited Indian subsidiary started paying corporate taxes in India according to the profit attribution made by the AAR, which is also again very debatable and very contentious, and the High Court is yet to hear the writ petition filed by Mastercard, because Mastercard is still denying that the PE is formed in India. But since, as per the past AAR ruling, it was established that the PE of Mastercard is formed in India, that is why the taxes are being paid by Mastercard, and the equalization levy would further lead to double taxation, because since it is paying in the corporate taxes manner the way PE pays taxes, then there is no need for equalization levy. Equalization levy, if you remember, is commonly termed in common parlance as Google tax, because Google was the first company which led to establishment of this kind of tax. So let's start in detail. So there was a ruling in the past, and now again the Supreme Court, Singapore based Mastercard, has seek stay on equalization levy. So currently it's under hold. In case the Mastercard wins the appeal against the establishment of PE in India, then it will have to pay equalization levy, and that too with interest which it is ready. But since it is paying taxes currently, it is not going to pay equalization levy, and it has taken a stay on the payment of EL, or which is commonly known as Google tax. So let's go in a chronological order. Mastercard had moved the Delhi High Court seeking a stay on payment of EL on digital transactions on grounds that it would lead to double taxation. Subsequently, it got a relief from paying EL, hereinafter referred to as Google tax, via High Court ruling. The company revolted back, saying that the Delhi AAR had ruled that Mastercard had a fixed place PE, service PE and a dependent agent PE in India under Article 5th of the India-Singapore DTAA in respect of services while using global network and infrastructure to process card payment transactions for customers in India. Since PE was established as per rules laid down by the Income Tax Department, equalization levy would not apply. MasterCard, however, would be liable to equalization levy if it wins an appeal pending before the Delhi High Court in a separate case challenging its permanent establishment status, because that is still under doubt. The ruling given by AAR is under appeal and the Delhi High Court is yet to hear the writ filed by the MasterCard. The department accepted in an affidavit filed with the court for right now that it was bound by the AAR order, in that states that the company has PE established in India and therefore the department had no desire to collect the equalization levy. Dating back to October 30, 2018, that is 2 years back, the MasterCard filed writ petition against AAR on misapplied PE law, which held that it had a fixed place PE, service PE, dependent agent PE in India under Article 5th. The ruling sets a worrying precedent not only for MasterCard but for the multinational companies operating in the country. Though the decision is only binding on MasterCard, the Indian Tax Authority may be eager to make similarly aggressive claims in the future, which featured in the international tax revenue. Therefore, it is one of the interesting rulings to read upon. Let's start with the facts of the case, and before that, let me give you a little backdrop. So let's start with the facts of the case. MasterCard Asia Pacific, a Singapore resident, carried out transaction processing and payment related activities across several countries for its global customers through a worldwide network. It, among other things, entered into agreements with banks and financial institutions in India, under which it received transaction processing fees and assessment fees for building and maintaining a network and other ancillary revenues. It also had a subsidiary in India called MasterCard India Services, MISPL. Now, there are certain factors which led to the formation of PE, and that is how the tax authority ruled it. MasterCard interface processors were owned by MSPL, were placed at the customer's location, that is in India. Therefore, MAPL had a fixed place PE in India because of the presence of MIPs. Second, the processing of transactions took place through the MasterCard worldwide network, which comprises MIPs, transmission towers, leased lines, cables, nodes, internet and application software. Now this ruling is very big and very vast. So I have summed it up, and this is a very compact form or a condensed form of what the entire ruling is and the entire crux of the ruling is. The AAR also ruled that the use of MasterCard network for substantial transaction processing functions like authorization, clearance and settlement would constitute a fixed place PE because it was secured, maintained and managed by MAPL. Further, the application software embedded in the network was owned and controlled by MAPL. Again, MIPs that are part of the network were at the disposal of MAPL. Thus, the MasterCard network constitutes a fixed place PE for MAPL in India. Third, the preliminary functions were undertaken by the Bank of India, whereas the processing and settlement carried out outside India, and functions and risks that were earlier conducted overseas were now conducted by MISPL. The premises of the banks constitute a fixed place PE for MAPL in India, and MISPL also constitutes a PE for MAPL in India. Service PE. MAPL's employees visited India from time to time. Now here I would like to mention that during the formation of PE, the FAR analysis is done, that is functions, assets and risk. Where are these employed? And that has a great bearing on the formation of PE or not. So the FAR analysis was done in detail, and it was found that the assets, that is MIPs, functions in India, and also the risk are being assumed in India. So why not as PE is formed in India? And therefore it was held that fixed place PE is formed in India. Secondly, the MAPL's employees, that the Singapore resident employees, visited India from time to time for obtaining customer feedback, and the time limit under India to Singapore DTAA is around 182 days, which was met, and therefore the service PE was also held to be formed in India. Third, dependent agent PE, that is agency PE. The marketing support activities were performed by MISPL for MAPL. MISPL constitutes a DAPE, that is DAPE, that is a dependent agency PE of MAPL in India on account of habitually securing orders wholly for MAPL. Number 4, income classification. A license to use trademarks and marks was granted by MAPL, that is in Singapore, to its customers in India. Customers were also using the software, which were the Indian customers, and as well as intellectual property in MIPs and the network. A portion of the fees received by MAPL would be classified as royalty under the India-Singapore Tax Treaty. The AAR also held that the functions performed, assets deployed, and risks undertaken by MISPL were not fully captured in its FAR profile, and hence a further profit attribution could be considered. So while determination of PE is a factual exercise, the ruling throws a light on the critical aspects to be considered for evaluating the existence of PE. This ruling may have far-reaching implications for business models or arrangements where a substantial part of business is carried through digital or e-commerce platforms without any significant human intervention. So one may also expect this ruling to be taken in further appeal to the High Court. While the ruling of the AAR is binding only on the applicant, nonetheless, the taxpayers will need to critically assess the impact of this ruling on their business models or arrangements. Okay? Right now, this kind of issue is not only dealt in by MasterCard. The Google and Facebook are facing similar issues in the European Union. The head of tax said, a lot depends on what comes out from the OECD on the regulations to tax such transactions. So this was my pick on the MasterCard judgment. I would also like to, deliberate upon the ruling. So you see, this is a very big ruling, and it would have a great impact on the not only this company but also various other multinational enterprises. This would have. So I would again repeat, if we go to the detail, that the questions which were raised through this MasterCard judgment. So the law, you see, always has the thin litigations, and the PE is a very contentious issue and is a matter of debate. So the questions again raised were whether there is a PE in India, and if PE is existing, whether an arm's length remuneration for activities performed in India would absolve any further attribution of global profits in India, whether the fees charged from the Indian customers would be treated as royalty or FTS, and any withholding tax is applicable or not. So the entire gamut was done by MIPs, the MasterCard interface processors, which were held in India, and MIPs have holded significant intangibles. Clearing and settlement activities were also happening in India and not overseas. Restructuring has taken place in its operation. Earlier, the liaison office was holding MISPs, and in order to circumvent the tax provision or in order to evade the tax, the MasterCard shifted all the operations to MISPL, to the Indian subsidiary. Due to this, the income offered in India had reduced from more than 50% of revenue from India to about 2.5%. This has resulted in suppression of income in India of the tune of 300 to 400 crore every year. That's why this was a big loss for our tax revenue department, and it was dealt in with great length. Decisions which were relied upon in bringing out this ruling were many, including the McDowell, Vodafone International Holding case, Azadi Bachao Andolan, Gujarat High Court decision in the case of Banyan and Bedi, Sakalar Balabhai, CIT versus Abhinandan Investment Limited, Formula 1 World Championship. So the many case laws were read upon to give a judgment, to pass the judgment in this case, which is still under appeal. So this is a very landmark judgment, I would say. Assessee had many arguments. We read the revenue contention as to why the PE was formed, why the fixed price PE was formed, why the service PE was formed, and why the DAPE was formed. But the assessee's contention is also worth relevant to read. Assessee says that, or the MasterCard says that, the detailed processing of the transaction is undertaken by it through the processing centers situated outside India and not in India. Significant authorization process take place outside of India, and MIPs on a standalone basis cannot undertake any significant processing activity. Cost of MIP is a fraction of the cost incurred by the applicant in maintaining server and other equipment. Bank of India merely posts the entries in the accounts of the customer banks. This is a very simple and clerical work which only takes a few minutes of the work of one employee of Bank of India. Due to this low skill nature of job, the Bank of India has paid service charge of only USD 1500 per month, though the total value settlement entries may come to as much as USD 114 million per day. Employees of the applicant cannot immediately walk into Bank of India and occupy some space. With regards to delay in VAT compliance for transfer of MIPs to MISPL, it was submitted that MIPs are located in various states with different VAT laws and hence there is a delay in compliance. It cannot be treaty shopping exercises. Both India and Singapore DTAA are similar. India US and India Singapore DTAA. Merely because MISPL is rendering marketing support services does not mean that it is a dependent agent PE. Fees is for transaction processing service and not royalty and does not amount to FTS. Make available test is not satisfied. Decisions relied by the assessee. Now, which are the decisions which the assessee has relied upon? Assessee has relied upon the decisions of Nokia Networks, Sky Satellite, Azadi, Asia Satellite Communication, Dell International, Cable and Wireless Network, FactSet Research Systems INC, Panamsat International Systems INC, and Bharti Cellular Limited, and many more. Discussions and verdict by the bench. So let's contemplate on this because we are debating. Let's debate. Nothing is clear. Nothing is still clear, and the writ is yet to be heard. So it is a matter of debate right now. It has to be open-ended. I am not authority to give here a decision, and the authority is also yet to give the decision. So we are just debating, we are just contemplating, and let's see the sides, both the sides, and let's have a certain bit of opinion until and unless a final clear and cut law is passed or clear cut judgment or ruling comes in the favor of either the MasterCard or our Indian Revenue Department, that is the AAR. Okay, so let's debate. To create a PE, one has to pass the three tests of permanency, a fixed place, and disposal. All the three tests are satisfied, and hence MIPs act as a PE of the applicant. There is a permanency, there is a fixed place, and disposal. We hold. Now the Revenue Department says that the transaction processing fee is a significant processing activity. It can't be sidetracked as a minor activity. It is a significant activity relating to clearance and settlement which takes place in India. Detailed analysis of Galileo judgment and the application of the rationale held in Galileo case to the present case. Automatic equipment like server can also create PE, and there is no requirement of human intervention, which was happened in many other cases as well. The MasterCard network also creates a PE of the applicant in India. The Bank of India premises constitutes a PE for the applicant. The BOI is also an independent agent, and the MISPL is also the PE of the applicant. Issue of tax avoidance to be considered only at the time of admission and not now. Creation of service PE, as the employee's presence in India is more than 90 days and are providing service to Indian citizens. Where there is a practice of habitually securing an order, I would repeat, the term uses habitually securing an order, the relevant coin term. The Indian entity would be constitute as PE. The MISPL was regarded as a PE for the Singapore entity, the DAPE one, that is a dependent agent PE, as it satisfied the condition of habitually securing orders. Detailed analysis of Formula 1 case and how the facts differ from the present one. The fees charged by the applicant is not in the nature of service fee. It is for the purpose of licensing the trademark, logo, and its use of the intellectual property of the applicant. The agreement between the customer and the applicant is silent on transaction processing. The rapid increase in the advertisement expenditure seen as a reason to promote the brand MasterCard and not increase the transaction processing. Since there is no compliance of sales tax, there is no transfer of ownership under the eyes of law. MIPs continue to be owned by the overseas AEs of the applicant. MIPs are de facto owned by the applicant. Test of equipment royalty is satisfied. There is no published technology for transaction processing, hence it's a secret process. A portion of the fee has to be attributed towards service royalty. Further, the use of software results into royalty. The applicant's argument of MasterCard argument of make availability test is not satisfied is proved wrong. The fee charged from the banks include a portion of making available technical knowledge, experience, skill, know-how in the form of spending habits of persons using MasterCard. Hence, make available test is also satisfied. The relation between the final consumer and applicant is the use of the standard facility, and hence transaction processing fee service rendered by the applicant cannot be taxed under FTS. Part of the fee which is not royalty and not FTS would be considered as business income because a PE is formed. AO can consider further attribution of the global profits as MISPL constitutes the PE of the applicant. Even in the case of the dependent agent PE, there is a need for further attribution. Withholding tax at full applicable rate is applicable on income attributed to PE. So this is the various ruling paras which is covered, and this is the entire ruling, which is a very big ruling, and a lot more things have been discussed upon via this ruling, which is worth reading. I would urge my users to definitely go through that. And if not, you can go through the crux, which is a very well explained one. So there are many case laws which are discussed and which have been used to give upon the judgments, and this will cover in the next article on case by case, because it can't be covered in one particular video. So I will discuss upon different case laws which have been discussed in this one ruling one by one, and so that there's no information overload and things can be processed by my users in a very good way. So this was all for today. I hope that my video would be useful for you guys, and let's look forward to read upon different case laws which is covered in this one particular landmark ruling one by one. Thank you guys for your hearing and patience. Bye bye. Have a nice day.